Hello, I'm Deanna Herron, host of the Deanna Herron Podcast Show. Have you ever wanted to do something bold, like start a business, write a book, or go for your dream job? This show was created for women just like you who want to be bold, shine bright with grace. My goal is to educate you, inspire you, and empower you with ideas that can transform your life. Be inspired by the Deanna Herron Podcast Show at deannaherron.net. Hello, welcome back, everyone, and welcome to the Deanna Herron Podcast Show. This is Deanna Herron, your host. Once again, I'm excited to be with you on this Tuesday, and thank you for joining me on this podcast. I'm excited to share with you a topic today that is very near and dear to my heart. And it has absolutely, this habit that I've created has absolutely changed the trajectory, not only of my business, but also of many habits like my health, etc. And I want to share this with you because I really believe that if you incorporate this into your life, it will be a game changer. And many years ago, when I started my business, my side hustle business, you guys, I desperately wanted more for my life. And not knowing what I was doing in business, I set a pace for myself that was very unrealistic. And that pace caused me to be discouraged many times. It also caused me to lose belief in what I was doing. And to be quite honest, I was completely exhausted, defeated, and full of self-doubt. So I bet you can relate to this as well, because it's very common. For most of us, not just for people who have a side hustle or multi-level marketing business. It's very common for the pace of what we experience in society today, whether in US, you're in Canada, Australia, we are go. I want to talk to you about something that may be mind-blowing to you, those of you who are overachievers, or those of you who really believe that things have to be done a certain way, and perfection is the way to success. I want to debunk that myth with you today. So what I want to talk to you about is the key to your success is actually not how much you can do, it's the consistency in which you do it. It's the consistency in which you do it. So what is the number one thing that will cause you to be discouraged or cause you to feel defeated in life and in business and your relationships and your health goals? And that is not being consistent. So I want you to know that your success is in what you do today. So it's important that we take those daily actions, and over time, those daily actions will create your goal. So first and foremost, you have to start with the end in mind. So let's start with a goal. So I'm just going to throw something out there. You know, maybe your goal is to earn 6 figures. Do you want to make 6 figures a year? You guys, that's a substantial amount of money nowadays. 6 figures over a year. That would have been such a game changer for me and my family when I first started business. So your end goal has to be in your mind continually, but you have to be consistent in what you do today, over and over and over. Okay, so 2 behaviors that can 100% block your consistency and keep you from the results that you want. And I want to talk to you about those today. So the first one is being so laser focused on your results that you lose that consistency. When you're focused on results, you guys, that is when that discouragement can come in. And I'm going to talk about more of that in just a second. The second block to your consistency is setting the wrong pace. Hello, I am guilty of both of these over and over again. And so what I want to do today is to teach you what I've learned so you don't repeat this over and over again. Let my mistakes be your golden nuggets. So years ago, when I started my side hustle, I was plugging along in my business, plugging along, doing the work. I was at a major tipping point. And the results that I wanted, I wasn't necessarily seeing them. Now, I was so busy in my life. I was a busy mom. I was a wife of a husband that traveled on a routine basis. And I was working a more than full-time career. So I had a lot of things going on with my side business. You may be able to relate to that. Most people who are building their dream are doing it on top of other things in their life. That's where I was. And I was at a tipping point where I was exhausted. I was doing the work, and I desperately wanted the results that I had in my mind. But to be quite honest, the expectation that I had was probably not really realistic. Okay. I took my focus off the present moment of doing the work, of focusing on today. And I started looking at the results. And I'm going to tell you what I saw at that time was all of the work that I was doing were not equating to the results that I was seeing. And so the difference between where I was currently in my business to where I wanted to be in my business, I saw the lack. And that's all I could see was the lack. It wasn't happening in my business. I knew that where I was not the goal that I wanted. I had already set my goal. And where that goal, where I needed to be, there was this distance in between where I was and where I wanted to be. And that was the lack, you guys. When we are so focused on the results, that can cause discouragement. That can cause you to feel defeated. It can cause you to doubt. And I have to tell you, at that time, that moment in my life, I had a decision to make. I had a decision to make of whether I was going to push forward, because I actually said the word quit at that moment. And so I could have quit because I wasn't seeing the results based on my expectation of the work I was doing, or I could continue to press on and be consistent. And the story goes, I made the decision to press on. I want you to know that this happens to all of us. We take our focus off what's happening presently, and we look at the results and we get discouraged because we forget to celebrate where we are today. And I want you to celebrate your wins for the day. Here's what I want you to understand is we don't know when we're going to get the results. And that is common in business. In business, there's no magic formula for everyone to say, do this, do this, do this. And then in 4 years, you're going to get your degree. We're so used to that kind of mentality. If you've been to college, you know, I do these requirements. I check them off my list. And in 4 years, I will get my degree. It doesn't happen in business. You guys, we have to do the daily work, and the results are different for everyone. When it happens for you. So we take our focus off of what we can control today. And that's how we get discouraged. So I want you to focus on what you can control today in order for you to receive your future goal. You cannot control when your goal is going to happen. That is partly your job. So it's a two-person job. It's partly your job. Your job is to do the work. That's it. On a daily basis, that's your job, to do the work. It's God's job to see what you're doing and create the results. So it's a co-creation between you and God. You do the work and let Him do the rest. Your job is to be consistent day after day. Okay, so the first thing that can block you from consistency is being results focused. So being results focused. And I know that's so hard. It is so hard. We have a tendency to look at what we're doing right now, and then we go to the results and we go, oh my gosh, I'm working so hard and I'm not seeing it come to fruition. So this is actually going to be a different mindset and a habit that I want you to create. The second consistency blocker is setting the wrong pace for yourself. I'm going to share with you a true story about the pace that I set for myself. But before I do, recently the Olympics were on, and my husband watched a lot of the track and field and what we could, and the track and field, there's a difference between sprinters and marathon runners. Obviously, the sprinter goes fast and gives it their all. So she gives it all she's got from the starting block to the finish line. She is going full out. That's sprinter mentality. But if you look at what a sprinter has to achieve, it's a very short distance, because she's got to expend a lot of energy up front and throughout the race. Now, if you look at a marathon runner, the marathon runner starts at the starting line and sets the pace, sets a pace that can get her to the finish line in 26 miles, right? And so it's different. The marathon runner does not start off as in a sprint, because that's not something they can maintain for 26 miles. And the sprinter does not start at a marathon pace, because they have a short distance to go in order to win. So they have to give it their all. And so do you see the difference in that? So in my business, when I started my business, I started a pace that was not sustainable for where I was in my life, for my family, for the career that I had, all of the things that I had outside of my business that I was starting. So I'm going to give you something that I really want you to think about. And so if you want to write these numbers down, write these numbers down, but it's easy enough to where you can actually listen while you're driving. So let's say that my goal when I started my business was to have 5 conversations about my business on a daily basis. 5 conversations about my business on a daily basis. That sounds doable. And listen, by the end of the month, I would have had 150 conversations. That's amazing, 150 conversations. Sometimes I got home late from work. As you know, I practiced medicine as a PA, and there were patients that ran late. There were patients that were put in a 15-minute slot that actually needed an hour slot. And so my day did not go as planned. I don't always have control over our day, and neither do you. And so I got home from work late. There were times when my husband traveled, so I had 100% responsibility of the kids. And so the conversations didn't happen that day. The 5 conversations didn't happen that day. But because I set the goal for having 5 conversations a day, that was 35 conversations a week, 150 conversations a month, I pushed those 5 conversations to tomorrow. And I added them on to the 5 I needed to do tomorrow. So tomorrow I needed to have 10 conversations. Well, guess what happens tomorrow? If I'm running late, my husband isn't home, if things go out of my control, I don't have those 10 conversations. So I push those 10 conversations off till tomorrow, and now I have 15. And you and I both know what happens is that 15 conversations is too overwhelming. And so I don't do any for the rest of the week, because they have piled on each other, and what seemed doable as 5 conversations now became 15 to 20 to 25, or all of them 35 in 1 week, which is hard to do. It's overwhelming. And so that was a pace that by the end of the week, I had 0 connections or conversations, and I started the next week fresh. Can you relate to that? Yes, I'm so guilty of doing this. And I repeated this over and over and over until I finally learned that consistency is the key. Many times, I'm going to be really honest with you, many times those 150 conversations, because I set a pace that was too high for where I was in my family at that time, I may have ended up having 10 conversations a month. Because when you keep stacking them and you set yourself up for failure, you feel like a failure, defeat sets in, discouragement sets in, and who wants to work when you're feeling that way? So, what can you do to set a different goal, set a different pace that is realistic? So what if you changed your goal to one conversation a day? That's doable, right? One conversation about your business today. And it doesn't matter what your business is, whether you're a lawyer, a real estate agent, whatever your business is. What if you changed it to a pace that was doable for where you are in your life right now, and something that you can achieve and pat yourself on the back for? One conversation a day seems very doable. I know you overachievers are going, oh my gosh, this is not enough. This is not enough. Okay, but follow me with this. One conversation. This was something that was super doable for me if I ran late at work, if my husband was out of town, if my day did not go as planned, I knew that I could have one conversation a day. Now, if everything worked out perfectly and I ended up having more time, I could up that. I could be my overachieving self and have 5 conversations or 10 conversations. But I wanted to set myself up for success and do what I knew that I could do. So follow me on this. One conversation a day, if you do that consistently, in a week, you've had 7 conversations. If you do that consistently over the month, you have made 30 conversations. And you have won your day, one day at a time for 30 consecutive days. Instead of feeling defeated, instead of feeling discouraged and doubting your ability to be successful. You guys, set a pace that is doable for you. Take those daily actions every day. And I'm going to tell you, this is where I won. This is where I won, is setting that pace that worked for me. And over time, doing those one conversations over and over and over, month by month, year by year, I became successful. And not only that, I felt like a winner instead of feeling like a loser because I had set that pace too high. Consistency wins. Consistency is your best friend. And it doesn't matter if it's in business, if it's in your health goals, if it's in your relationships. You guys, consistency is a habit that we all need to create in order to be successful in life. So the 2 behaviors that keep us from winning in the consistency game are, number 1, being results focused. So being too focused on your results can keep you from being consistent. Number 2 is working the wrong pace and setting yourself up for failure. I hope this has been like, such an aha for you, because it was such an aha for me. And it really changed the way that I have done my life, truly, is by being consistently. And lastly, I want you to celebrate your daily successes. That is so important, because if we celebrate the end goal, you guys, it's so much harder to just celebrate that end goal. You need to celebrate what you do today, because today is what matters. Because what you do today, done over and over again consistently, is what's going to create those massive results that create your end result. And so celebrate yourself today. At the end of the day, I recommend that you write out your wins for the day. I used to be in the habit of writing out all the things I didn't do, once again, focused on lack. And so write down your wins for the day. Overachievers, this is going to be super hard for you because we never feel like we can do enough. But stick with me on this, create this habit, and you are going to set yourself up for success instead of failure. So thank you again for being a part of this awesome community. You guys, it just warms my heart so much to be able to breathe life into you, to share my struggles so that you can be winning in your life. So take my lessons as treasures to your heart. If you would like to be a part of Deanna's Diamonds, our private Facebook group, I would love to have you. You guys will get the first dibs when the book comes out. So we're in the process of publishing right now, which I'm super excited. And I go live, I share stories. You have a great group of women who really wrap their arms around each other and cheer each other on, which is so important for women in business, is to cheer each other on. I would love to hear from you on Instagram. If you have not followed me on Instagram, it's at Deanna Herron. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you to all of you guys who direct message me and telling me that you love this podcast and you're sharing it with others, but also sharing with me from your heart some struggles that you are experiencing through the topics that we discuss. And lastly, if you have not heard, I'm giving away a one-on-one coaching call, 30-minute one-on-one coaching call with me. If you would rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast, and then tag me on Instagram. Share a picture. I'd love to see your face and just say, I've rated and reviewed, whatever it is that you want to share. And every week we're going to do a drawing for a one-on-one 30-minute coaching call, topic of your choice. So have an amazing rest of your week. And I look forward to seeing you next Tuesday. Our topic next week, I'm actually interviewing a U.S. Paralympic volleyball player that is absolutely incredible, Kaleo. And I can't wait for you to hear her success stories. God bless you. Look forward to talking to you all soon.